Hey, today I'm checking out the 2020 Recover Tactical Glock brace. So let's see what we got here in the box. You got instructions for how to set it up. And here's the brace. You got all the hardware that you need, including a paddle, holster. And if you don't have an optic on your Glock, it comes with that charging handle accessory. And then there's the holster, which is handy to have. And there's some more Allen wrenches and other parts of it. And so here's the brace. It's got this folding extending brace for it. It's a chassis for a Glock system, and the brace locks open, and then you just pop it over and it locks shut as well. And to open it, you pop it up and pull it to the side. There's one cross bolt that holds the whole chassis together, so you just open that up and you place the Glock inside there and bolt that down. Has a little ring that you can use for a rear sling attachment point. That's kind of handy, pretty durable. And here's a Glock. This is a MOS Gen 5 Glock. So you open up the chassis, you drop it in, and it fits perfectly around the trigger guard. And then you just push it together, and then you tighten that down. That is a really stable, tight grip on the Glock. It's not moving around in there. It feels really durable part of the Glock. It feels like one pistol, not like a rickety mess. And then there you just pull up a little bit on that brace and it pops open. And so it won't deploy accidentally. It takes a little bit of intentional force to pop it open. And when it's popped open, that chassis can't open up. And this is nice. I got a rear sight on here on this Glock. And so you can use that to charge the Glock, which is very handy. And if you didn't have that, there's an attachment. It's got mounting points on both sides for additional Picatinny rails. And it's really easy. It's pretty hard if you're going to grip it from those back serrations. There's not too much real estate. And from the front, the same thing. There's not much real estate. And then the shape of that chassis kind of pops your hand off. So really using that red dot sight is the way to go for charging it. It makes it super easy. And so they include this attachment. If you don't have a dot on your Glock, you can throw that on there and it gives you the same feature where you can just grab a hold of it and yank it and rip it to charge it. And so here's that holster. And so basically that just fits around the trigger guard there, and it protects the trigger from accidental touching or anything. And then the other part goes in your pants like a regular paddle design holster. And it's just kind of friction fit held in, so you pop it out when you need to remove it. And it's pretty tight fit there. And so they also include another attachment that's a universal attachment for any other type of pistol that has a rail at the bottom in front of the trigger guard, so you can use it with the same holster. So here is a PSA Dagger, and I can throw that adapter on there, and so that attaches to the Picatinny rail on that Dagger, and it then can snap in to the holster. So you could use the same holster for multiple pistols. So that's kind of a cool little feature to add. So I want to see, does the Dagger fit in this chassis? It's not designed for this chassis. You can see where the trigger guard is shaped a little differently. But it does go in, and in fact, you can tighten it down, and it has the same tight, snug fit inside there, and feels really great. So I think this is a great option because the Dagger is so dang cheap. You can throw that in this chassis, which is also a great value, and then you have a little PDW on the cheap. So that's really cool. And so let's see, this other accessory is for an angled foregrip that also is a mag holder. And so this just has a little push cross button. So you slide it onto that pick rail, and you can push that button, and then it will snap into place, and then it'll be locked on there. And it's like a hand stop plus an angled foregrip, so your hand won't get out there in front of the muzzle, which is pretty nice because this would obviously be really easy to get your hand out in front of the muzzle. And that's also a place that you can put a magazine. So that just slides in there. There's no button or anything to release it, and it's got a tight, snug fit. The way you get it out is you push your thumb up and pull down, and it comes out pretty easy, but it won't accidentally come out on its own, and it's got a nice, durable, tight fit. So you push up with your thumb and down with your fingers, and it comes out. So it's a pretty easy motion once you get the hang of it. It felt pretty tight in there at first when I was yanking on it. So doing that motion, thumb up, fingers down is the way to go to get it out. It's nice and easy. And let's see, I got a red dot mount for the top. So one of the things is with this chassis, your face is pretty low to be able to see through that red dot on the slide, and they have this attachment where you bolt on this pick rail onto the side, and then you can mount a higher dot. So you basically just put this little nut into this predefined hole on the side. Pretty easy. And then there's a peg on the other side that lines up to fit it in the right placement. Then you drive that screw through into that nut that you just put in there. And then that's a nice tight lockup right there on the side of the chassis. So you have pick rail on the side where you could mount a light, and then you have that pick rail on the top where you can mount a higher red dot. So I'm going to throw that back on there, and you can see it doesn't interfere with the current red dot that's on the slide, but it'll allow me to have a more heads-up position. And all the things like that angled foregrip and opening the brace, they all lock the pistol in there and prevent it from even being able to come apart. So you can see that rail on the top. It doesn't get in the way of charging the slide at all. And then that pick rail on the side for a good mounting light or a laser or something. So yeah, it's a great fit. Plus it even looks cooler now with that mounted on it. So let's see a red dot on here. So I've got my Romeo 5 by SIG, and that's pretty easy to get that on there. So we just tighten that down. And there we go. Now we got a real PDW. It's got some really cool like Killzone vibes with some of the Guns in Killzone, the video game, or Halo looking vibes with the SMG from Halo. And there you can see that lower dot and then the higher Romeo 5, which just is much easier for a heads up position, getting that buried into your shoulder. And so that is a great addition to this. And still just as easy to charge it. And if you didn't have a dot on your slide, you could use that charging handle that they have for the slide as well. So that is the Recover Tactical 2020 pistol chassis. Thanks for checking it out.